Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking about the initial, I can never pronounce this word, initialization of an array. But for those starting out, what exactly is an array? Well, you ever wondered how you could store a collection of items within your C++ program? Well, that's exactly what describes what an array is capable of doing. To put it simply, they are numbers within an element of some data type. But what does this mean? Think of it like organizing like a certain box with a bunch of your favorite snacks like M&Ms or something, and maybe like Kit Kats or something, right? You're just filling up this box right here with a bunch of your favorite snacks. So today we'll explore how to declare, initialize, and access these powerful data structures. So here's an analogy for you. Imagine an array like a row of lockers. Right here, I'm gonna draw like 4 lockers, and I'm just gonna add this. There you go. So like a row of lockers, just think of them like school lockers or something, and each locker can hold a couple of items, right? And you can locate these lockers by simply looking for its number. Okay. So arrays are a collection of elements stored in contiguous memory locations. So here's a hands-on example. Let's go to our IDE over here. And let me just wrap my base. I need to have these bases already prepared next time, actually. We won't be using that. Okay. And here we go. So if I were to just write here an integer, and I'll call it numbers for right now, and I would have put these brackets here, and I would have put the value of 5. What does this necessarily mean? It means you're going to be storing 5 different elements inside these braces now, okay? And you can put whatever number you want. Right now, just for simplicity, we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So there we go. Here we're assigning values to some elements. The rest are initialized to 0. If you were, for example, leave one of these blank or something, you can see that there's only 4 in here instead of 5, which is what we supposedly started with. It was just initialized to 0. So it's important to note here that you must specify at least one element, as it cannot be empty. Okay, you can also, or you can't add more elements to what you specified. If the number of elements are less than the length of the array, then the rest of the locations are again automatically 0. So we can't just say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and then add a 6 here. Or again, we can't just leave this empty. If you were to leave it empty, if you wanted to, for example, specify later on what kind of values you want to put in here, then you would just leave it like this. But that's a little bit more in depth later on. So you have to specify them, and you can't leave them blank. That's simply just not allowed. And you can do this with doubles as well. If you want to change this integer, you can do it with a float. You can do it with strings. You can do it with all sorts of stuff. Right now, we're just going to be using int for simplicity. Okay. So you can change the numbers to decimals if you like. It doesn't really matter right now. You can also leave it undeclared, as I mentioned before, like I have it right now. So if we were to do something like this, you would add like an if statement, and then or a while loop, and then eventually just ask the user what kind of inputs they want to put in there. And that's for a more in-depth video, but let's keep going. Now each element in an array has an index, starting from 0. Sort of like how I hinted, this would give you access to your first element. Computers aren't really traditional in this sense, But later on, when you start getting a little more familiar with arrays, you'll input some things like this, for example. Um, you'll say C out, and you put something here in quotes, whatever you like, and then you can put something like index plus 1 inline or something, right? So basically, like I mentioned, you would create the for loop or something, just asking the user what kind of values they want to put into it. And eventually, you can just put it into your index. You can create a new storage and store it into index, whatever you have here. And then you can put plus 1 simply because, again, the starting point is at 0, and that's kind of confusing for anybody who's not familiar with computers or C++. And so we just add that plus 1 to make it more familiar. So this is so we don't confuse anybody again. So here's an example of this. You could say, let's delete all of this real quick. Let's say you're taking up some grades, right? And you would say you have 5 grades. And so we're going to define those grades. We're going to say 85, 30, 49, an 87, and a 93 or something, right? Don't forget that. And so now we're going to do C out, and we're going to say, whatever, or you could just say your grade is blank. This. And we could say, specified grades. That's what we called it. And we'll put 0. Now, if you had to guess what will output in here, well, again, our starting point is at 0. So we're going from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So your output should be 85. And there you go. So that's simply like a little overview of what all this means. Not too in depth, very simple. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to speak of today. Not much, I know. But hopefully that gets you like a head start or whatever you're trying to do in your classes, or whether you're trying to teach yourself at home. Just gives you an overview of what arrays are. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.